well, we're just going to go ahead and start.
Let's do this.
Let's do that. So welcome to this week's episode of Raw Real Unfiltered. I actually got that correct this time. I'm so proud of myself.
That's so good.
Today we are filming on location. I am so excited to be here. We are here with Wylea Griggs, and we are at the Quantum Mental, you're going to have to say the whole thing, Mental Wellness Center.
Yeah, Quantum Mental Health Wellness.
Mental Health Wellness, oh, I was so close.
Sometimes I play it safe, and you can see it. It's easy for me to show, but sometimes I'm really brave, and that just means that I'll try again tomorrow. It's my doubt creating mountains where the valleys used to be. Gotta change perspective if I really want to see.
Anyways, right in Wyoming on Gazan Parkway, and we are here for her to talk to us about all things mental health and the things that you do. So go ahead and just maybe introduce yourself to our audience, and then we'll get going from there.
Yes, well, hello. So I'm Wylea Griggs, the owner of Quantum Mental Health Wellness Center, as well as Infinite Transformations Counseling Consulting Group. And here I offer a comprehensive holistic approach to mental health wellness. And that's with counseling as well as with cutting edge innovative technology, get into the root cause.
I love it.
I'm so excited.
I know.
You said holistic. It's like my favorite word.
Yes.
I am excited to talk with you. Yes. This is a canoe I would get into, so.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
I'm thrilled.
So I loved that we were able to film during Mental Health Awareness Month. You know, we did all last year, we spent all 5 weeks in May on different aspects of mental health, and we actually talked to different generations about what they were dealing with. So we talked to, Gen Z, and we had millennials, and then we had another aspect of the holistic approach on things, play therapy.
So many great things.
And then Heidi and I shared that we have ourselves dealt with depression and anxiety in the past, and kind of shared our stories about that as well. So I was so excited when I talked to you and that we were going to be able to record during that this time. So tell us more about what you do here, and the services that you offer and your approach on things.
Yes. So I love working with women. And that's my passion. So when I started off working with women, I work with women who suffer from mental or neurological disorders, as well as hormonal balancing, menopause, and sexual dysfunction. I love helping women get their sex drive back. What happened since I started is and I'll tell y'all my story as well.
Yes.
But when I help women then want to help their children. So now I'm helping women and families. So, are you guys looking for like the programs of what I do, or?
Everything you want to share, so just so that we can get the word out there and tell people that this is available, to be able to come to you for.
And I think just even some people may not understand the difference between the holistic approach to an issue you may dealing with, or a more traditional route that people go. So maybe even just a quick little education as to what it is that makes yours different, and something I'm a fan of.
I love it.
So, yes. So as a therapist, what I found was talk therapy is amazing.
It is.
But talk therapy will not touch our emotions the way we need them to release them. So one of the reasons why I went into what I went into for Quantum Mental Health Wellness Center and the holistic approach and innovative technology is because I could not take the medication that was prescribed, and I needed to stop my panic attacks. I needed to stop my anxiety, and I needed to manage it. And most importantly, I wanted to be happy. So when I found the sound therapy is when I was like, oh my goodness. And what I use here at my wellness center is sound therapy. I use customized positive affirmations in my women's voice. I do chakra balancing, and I use the theta chamber to target my members' subconscious mind. And I also use the RTMS for women who have nervous exhaustion, chronic fatigue, brain exhaustion, pain management, as well as memory care.
Love it.
Can I ask a question about that? What does because a lot of those were very familiar, but what does brain exhaustion feel like in a person that would be experiencing that?
Fully exhausted, don't have the energy to do anything. So when someone has complete brain exhaustion and even nervous exhaustion, they are just drained, literally drained.
So do you think that that would be mistaken for, you know, other things besides what it actually is, and so people are seeking help for what the problem actually is not? You know what I'm saying? So they're being treated for something that it is not.
Exactly.
So how would somebody realize that it's brain exhaustion rather than anything else?
So I love to biohack. And that's one of the things that I do is I biohack our voice, but also our bodies. And when I biohack, I'm able to see what emotions are there, what's the loudest emotions and what's suppressed.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
It is, isn't it?
I'm like,
I'm like,
I
teach me
could
more.
talk to you all day long.
And what I love to do is I love to educate my members. So that's the biggest thing about coming to the Wellness Center is educating them about what do I see energetically, because I work energetically, and what can I do to help them energetically.
That is amazing. I love
I
that.
love it. And you just look like you have a peaceful presence to you. And I think that, I don't know, I just have this feeling that it's what you practice and what you do with people in your work here in your office. I think that's just your presence. If that's something you can give to people, sign everybody up. 'Cause you just do. You look grounded and peaceful. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, and the fact that you shared that you have
Yeah.
dealt with those different issues
Yes.
in the past,
Mhm.
you know, and
I
that
know.
you are a product of your own therapy.
Yes.
And I think that that speaks
It's
volumes to
amazing.
it as well.
I know, I'm feeling, how frazzled do I look today? And that brain
Well-
thing sounds like I can identify, but.
Right, and I think specifically as women, we have a completely unique set of things that we deal with as opposed to men, you know, and as children grow, you know, they don't quite deal with the same things, but women, I mean, we've got our hormones. I love that you mentioned that, and I want to talk more about that,
Such a
but
huge
there
factor.
there are so many aspects to the women's body and the women's brain, and, you know, pre-kids and post-kids and premenopause and postmenopause and, you know, everything. I feel like everything's changing all the
Just
time.
in all the physical changes, the external appearance changes, your internal mindset, you still feel like you did decades ago, but you look in the mirror and it's like you don't recognize who you're looking at.
Yes.
And trying to get comfortable with that. I thought that for so long. Like, let it go.
So tell us more about like the hormone aspect that you deal with and how you help people with that.
So what I love to do is scan my members' hormones, and after I scan their hormones, I love to educate them on what I see energetically in their hormones that can be off. And after that, we work with the theta chamber for hormone therapy, and I also have supplements. So one of the supplements that I use is the skinny drops that also balance hormones. So inside, as well as working with your brain, the
Nice.
theta chamber.
So I've seen on your social media the difference that people have had with using the skinny drops. Can you tell us a little bit more about kind of how they work and what would make them set apart from any other kind of weight loss type program?
One thing that I love about the skinny drops is it's natural, homeopathic drops. So yes, everything in it is natural. So that's one of the things, the reason why I started using it myself. And it targets the stored fat, so the visceral fats.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also give us energy. It also helps with balancing our hormones that's out of whack. So
Okay.
yeah, some really good things. Yeah.
And men and women can use those?
Men and women.
Okay.
Yes. It's amazing. So women, lately we've been losing a half a pound a day, right? And that's been on it. And then with the way we eat as well, we're losing a half pound a day as well as drinking a lot of water, fluids. Men are losing 3/4 pound a day.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
Yes.
But it's just, it targets that fat, that stored fat reserves.
Yes. Yeah, and a lot of us, as we get older, we start having inflammation. Like when you mentioned about how we don't look the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I was getting ready to get in my wellness center last year, I took a picture And when I took a picture, I'm like, I don't even notice myself. My face was like this. And I'm like,
wow.
Oh,
so around that time, I was still formulating my wellness center. And when I got the theta chamber, the first thing I did was start the weight loss program and the hormonal balancing program, and which that's a different story. But I started losing my inflammation, my weight fats, and my bloating from the weight loss from the theta chamber. And then when I found the visceral, the skinny drops is when it's like, okay, I need to go deeper and I need to target the visceral fat.
yes.
So with these drops, as well as with the weight loss program, one of the biggest things what we lose first is the inflammation and the bloating.
Inflammation is such an issue
It
in
is.
our society and causes so many more issues than people realize, and they treat all these symptoms of something they're never treating. And that's the problem, and that's why I love holistic approaches, because its whole goal is to go naturally into where is the issue coming from. Why don't we address that
Right.
and work from the inside out, as opposed to just let's slap band-aids on this. It's like whack-a-mole, like take this
Exactly.
one.
And then
Well,
another
here's
one
a
pops
pill
up.
to deal with that. So well, here's another pill, and I'm like, I don't want to get on that train. So I'm excited to see that this is a field that people are more eager to embrace and more willing to see as a very real alternative to our traditional medicine. Because I think so many people, oh, it's just this quack stuff, because they get used to the pad of paper and a prescription and pick up your pills and go into a doctor's office, blood pressure, and there you go, you're all set. This is what you need. I think we need to go deeper. So I love what you're saying about all this. It's fast. I'm sorry. I'm
No,
drooling.
I'm totally on with you.
This is just, my nerd brain is just excited right now.
And another note, like the visceral fat, for people that don't understand, it wraps around your organs, your internal organs, and it can cause so many problems so people think, oh, okay, I'm just a little overweight. But what they don't realize is if you look inside and you can see it just wrapped all around everything. So it's squeezing your heart and your lungs and your pancreas and your kidneys and all of those things.
This is important stuff for me now, especially I have to make sure that doesn't happen to my heart, to my lungs, to my stuff. So, yeah.
So talk to us about the hormone. You said that it's different than the skinny drops. And so what do you do for hormones? Because that is such a huge issue for women of all ages, so yeah.
So for hormonal balancing, I use the theta chamber.
Okay.
And I have a 28-day program for hormonal balancing. I also have, and it depends on how serious. So one of my members came in for 10 days, 5 days a week, and hormones is back. Feeling good, mood is good, the yelling has stopped, you know how they say.
Yep, I understand.
You mean that life is possible?
Yeah.
Yes, so that's one of the things what I love about getting our hormones back in place is it's not only our hormones are out of place, but our emotions as well.
It's so connected. If one's gonna go, it's a domino effect, and it's just the way our bodies are. It's how they're wired together. So you can't just keep trying to mask this one, because it's not going away. So.
And then I had my members, as well as myself, we go to the doctor, right? And they do the blood work. Your blood work is fine. So it's like, I don't feel fine.
I don't.
And that's it right there.
I'm like, say it, because it's always, your blood work looks beautiful. And I think, and I had this, and then before they admitted me, and I'm like, great, everything looks normal, and then I felt stupid. So it's all in my head.
Exactly.
I'm just making this up. And I felt really dumb, like I just wanted to get all my stuff on. I just wanted to get out the door and go home, because I'm feeling dumb, like I wasted everybody's time.
But yet something was wrong. You knew something was wrong.
So not right. I know what my normal feels like. This was not right, and I am so thankful. Thankful that I somehow ended up with people. I got the people that did hear, that did listen, and were willing to go a bit deeper for me, but
So if a woman is experiencing out of balance hormones, tell us what that looks like or what that would feel like so that the women that are listening would understand, oh, maybe I have something going on with my hormones. What does that look like on the outside and different, kind of characteristics of that?
Yes, definitely. Women who are experiencing hormonal balance, you can definitely notice mood change, anger, yelling. You can notice night sweats. You can notice more cravings.
Okay.
Right? Hormonal balance, your sex drive can leave. A lot of times when our hormones are off, we start getting different things going on like within our stomach and start gaining weight within our stomach because our hormones are off.
Right.
Does that cause belly weight gain specifically in your belly? Okay.
That's fascinating stuff.
It is.
And I'm hearing this, and they're all things that I think women have just accepted as it's part of getting old. And it doesn't have to be. It does not have to be. Our bodies can remain strong and healthy and limber and well balanced as we age. It just takes the right people and the right help and the right helping teach you, how do I keep everything in balance, so everything can be even keel. I can't think of a better way to live life than feeling your best all the time. I'm already a fan and I just met you.
So what about postpartum, moms that they've given birth and they're just kind of like, blah, because that is such, you have 6 kids.
It's a train wreck, yeah.
I have 3 and you just don't feel like yourself. You can't figure out what it is that you don't feel like yourself about, right? But something's weird and you're like, okay, I just had a kid, so that's probably it. But it goes so much deeper than that. I have postpartum depression with my first one especially. My second one I did to the point where my midwife was like, you need to stop nursing so that you can take care of you, because it was either stop nursing or completely lose my mind. It was that bad. And so she had recommended that, and I was devastated because I wanted to nurse him until he was a year. And she's like, you have to take care of your mental sanity, and my hormones were just all out of whack. And then I was able to focus, but it was, I don't remember his first 6 months of life. It was just a blur, completely crazy. So how can you help postpartum moms as well?
That hit hard, yes. Postpartum depression, a lot of women experience it.
Yeah.
I experience it as well. But yes, I do help with postpartum depression.
Wonderful.
When I went through postpartum depression, I dropped down to a 0.
Ooh.
That's how much, that's how hard it hit.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't notice. They're like, well, what's wrong with her,
Yeah.
And it's like, no, we're going through things. We need help.
Yes.
Yeah. Support and also to know that this is okay, this is normal, and there are resources you can get help. You don't have to keep feeling like that.
Normalize talking openly about it because it's experienced by so many people. So as soon as you talk about it, I can almost guarantee you're going to find more people saying, I had that same thing too. I had that too.
Yeah.
And then that this is a real thing that can be expected. I really think we do a disservice not preparing expectant mothers for the after and that aspect of it.
Right.
So, because things are hard enough. All of a sudden you're going home with this child that doesn't have an owner's manual.
Yes, exactly.
I've seen them on TV. They're real cute, but
They make it look so
they're
easy.
screaming and pooing now, and I don't know what to do with it.
Yep. I didn't actually know with my first that I had postpartum. It was my husband that had noticed the signs in it, and he very gently had to talk to me about it and just, hey, are you feeling this way? But he was that in tune with what was going on with me, but I had no idea. And as soon as he said that, I'm like, yeah. That's exactly, but it was my first kid. I didn't know, I thought it was normal. This is how I'm supposed to feel. And it just wasn't, and I didn't have any postpartum with my daughter. And I was like, oh, okay, that's what that feels like to just have a baby and kind of recover, I guess, and it was very, very different. I was very sick with her. I gained 14 pounds total and lost it before I left the hospital. But I was very sick the entire time, and so I don't know if that had anything to do with it, just kind of the reversal of everything, because I wasn't sick with the boys and I was with her, you know, but.
The flip, that's
Did you really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I am, because I hear more the other way,
Mhm.
but I was horrifically sick with my boys, and I felt great with the girls. So, and I'm gonna share, I'm the odd man out here. I did not experience postpartum. I just
At all.
I didn't.
Mhm.
I didn't, and I was just out and about, and just I was like, I felt abnormal, just like good,
Mhm.
and just relished what I was doing, to the point where my doctor's like, this isn't the typical, like, you are doing just like remarkably well and just off and going. He goes, tone it down though, because a lot of new moms don't have that, and you sound very not understanding, because you're like,
Right.
because I'm like, all that stuff, I'm like, I just don't get it. It's not that big of a deal. And he's like, it's a big deal. It's a big
Yeah.
deal. And I feel like a fool for having said and thought that, because, you know, I have daughters that have experienced that, and that is hard for me to see. And I'm not super knowledgeable at knowing how to best help them, because I don't have the personal experience. So I consider my husband was enough.
Yeah.
Most everything depression. Not this one, but not this one. So,
Yes.
so my kids were great. So yeah, but it's hard. It's so hard for these new moms, and there's such an expectation that you're supposed to look a certain way and be so happy
Yeah, that's it.
and so joyful in this happy baby, and look at all your coordinated outfits, and you're so cute in your pictures, and you're most days just like going, oh.
They
You're
think
like,
they're supposed to live like the Pinterest life, you know, and you're
Yes.
like, I'm living like reality TV, you know, like this
Yes.
is, yeah, I mean, and I think that's an important conversation to have,
Yes.
because I think a lot of new moms, they're very isolated too. You know, they're in their homes, they're 24/7 with this human that you have to keep alive, and if you have other kids, you have to keep them alive too. And the husband can be supportive, but he also doesn't get it completely,
Or
and
you
so
may
it's
not
very
have a partner
isolating.
that helps you. And
Yeah.
then I can't imagine the solo
Mhm.
go at it. And one of my daughters did, not what she wanted, but it's what happened. She did amazingly well, but boy, did she fight through sometimes just with that load. But she took so much of that, because she's like, this is my responsibility and I have to do this. And, you know, I tried to, like, I'm here a lot in, you know, but she's so very much in that depressive thing that felt like failure to her. And if I had known that she had a place like this to come to get some help and care with that, to where she could be, that would have been a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Go
what I
ahead.
help with for the postpartum depression, sound therapy. So a lot of women who go through postpartum depression, but depression just hits heavy, and it's like a blob, and it's like it's a stuck feeling that
Yeah.
they do not know how to get out.
Yes.
So sound therapy, customized positive affirmations in their voice.
I love that.
How that's important is because it targets their subconscious mind.
And
And
they're
they have a-
hearing themselves.
Yes,
Oh,
and it
okay.
targets all the negative thoughts that goes on within their mind.
That's beautiful. That's really a beautiful, beautiful thing to have them do, to talk to them in a positive. I love that.
Yeah, because what we think about, we bring about, right? I mean, it's that saying, but that is 100% true. And when you're in that depressive state, like you said, you're stuck. You can't get out of it on your own. Like you're just in this hole in this cave, and you're sitting down there. And so that is what you're bringing about, because that's all you can think about. And so I love that you're doing it, the positive affirmations in their own voice, counteracting all of the negative, because all of it's in our own
Voices
voice,
get
right?
loud.
I mean, everything in our head is in our own voice.
It is.
And so to be able to hear that, you know, over and over again,
Oh.
I love that.
I do, and I love that you do with sound. I mean, there's no discounting the power that music and sound has on the brain, and the way it receives it and what it does. I mean, it's a fascinating thing, the way our brains are wired to receive this, and the effect that it's remarkable. I think it's a beautiful I can't, I don't, okay.
So talk to us about menopause and how you can help with that, because I think that's such a huge topic that so many women go through and just figure this is what we have to suffer through and go through, you know, and you were saying that you have support for that. So go ahead and tell us about that.
Yes.
Please.
So I'm going to talk about menopause, and I'm going to talk about perimenopause as well.
Yes.
Because perimenopause during our age, like, I heard it started late 30s, but I'm 43, I'm in my 40s. A lot of women are going through perimenopause, and most women are getting shut directly into menopause. So with that, with the perimenopause as well as the menopause run hand in hand, because when women suffer from menopause, they lose their sex drive. They start having night sweats, hot flashes, mood is different, weight loss start coming on. So what I love to do with the theta chamber, as well as with the sound therapy, a customized positive affirmation, it's all a combo, right? So for menopause, I work with them in the theta chamber to target their subconscious mind to help with their mindset, because that's what we're talking is the mindset. But I'm also working with the hot flashes. I'm working with the night sweats, and I'm doing that with the theta chamber as well. I'm using sound therapy, and I'm using customized positive affirmations.
Wonderful program.
So briefly explain the difference between perimenopause and menopause so that women can go, oh, that's what I'm in, or oh, this is what I'm heading towards, you know? Yeah.
So perimenopause is so interesting. So now that we have perimenopause, we start having like these night flashes, these night sweats, and then, you know, our moods start changing. So headaches start coming. Brain fog has been one of the biggest things. So targeting brain fog head on, as well as helping control our hormones, because our hormones start getting out of whack.
Right. Yeah. And I myself have been put into medical menopause. So I thought I was in perimenopause until they checked my hormones and they were like, you actually weren't. So I wasn't. I had a hysterectomy 7 years ago, and they kept my ovaries. And they said because I was in my 30s, they said we want to keep your ovaries. I didn't have any of the endometriosis around those. They were able to save them.
I have ovaries, but partial hysterectomy.
And so I'm thinking this whole time that I've been kind of like in this perimenopause phase, and I wasn't. You know, they did the hormones and they were like, whoa, your hormones are like super high. And so then they medically put me into menopause because of my breast cancer treatment and prevention and things like that. So I'm here, and in the past 3 weeks, I've gone like, whoosh, you know, kind of like straight down. And so for me, the brain fog is the worst symptom, I would say. I mean, I've had some hot flashes, those were fun, but like they're not all the time, and so I don't feel like that's like a horrible thing. I haven't done the night sweats, it's the brain fog. I feel stupid, if that makes sense. Like I usually function at a certain level, and I can multitask, and I can think of things, and I can remember things, you know, to do things and stuff like that. I just feel like my IQ dropped about 55 points because I can't think of words in the middle of a sentence. We saw that the last podcast.
Just wait for it.
I can't get a clear thought through my brain. So I just feel like I'm swimming in milk. I said that the other day. I was like, really thick whole milk is what I'm swimming in, because when I try to see, I can't get my brain to go from the beginning of the thought to the end of the thought. And it is infuriating and also making me sad. So I also have I had a huge hormone drop over the past couple days, and I'm ovulating for the first time since they put me into medical menopause. So my body is literally having like World War 17 going on right now, because my ovaries are like, we're supposed to be doing this, and then the medication's going, no you can't. And so I was on the floor in a ball last night. For the first time in years, I was having such painful ovulation, and I'm like, what in the world? Like it's just crazy. But my emotions, like I was walking into Costco, one of my favorite places, and I just felt this wave, like it just knocked me over of sadness. And I had to be like, you're going to your favorite place. You love this place. Like, why are you sad? And so my internal dialogue was talking me out of it because I'm like, otherwise I'm literally going to burst into tears in the middle of the TV section of Costco. But it was, nothing happened, nothing triggered it, nothing. It was just a giant wave. And I thought, oh, and then it just sits on top of me. And I just feel heavy and I feel sad. And like, I know what's going on. Like subconsciously, I know that. But it doesn't make it any easier to deal with, you know? And then I have the brain fog, which makes me feel stupid, which makes me feel even sadder. And so it's this kind of crazy cycle. And so I'm kind of running into it head first, diving into it. But other women, I'm sure, are dealing with that as they're transitioning through the perimenopause into menopause, maybe not quite as fast, but you know. So what would you do in those situations to kind of help support that?
You talked about mood.
Yeah.
Mood is the biggest one. Depression, even anxiety, stress, overwhelm. Those comes, you know, with the perimenopause as well as even with the menopause because our body's not functioning the same. So self-esteem, how our body looks, our body image. Yeah. So how I would help with that? Definitely sound therapy. They need to be listening to it. But not only do I give them sound therapy here, I also send it home to them so they can listen to it.
I love that.
Wonderful. It's a consistent thing that they can use in their life, just not this, well, once a week, I'm like positive.
Right.
It's like, put it in.
Yes.
Yeah,
and they will
that's
listen.
so good.
Yes, and they'll listen to it at home, at work, you know, wherever they're, even at Costco. All you need is your headphones.
I love that. Yeah.
Even the customized positive affirmations, I send that home to them. Because a lot of the symptoms happen and the triggers, like you can be at Costco, you can be driving in your car, you can be at the gym.
Right.
And these symptoms will come on.
Yeah. And you can't control it. I mean, it just happens.
Yeah.
And it's infuriating because it's more of a lack of control that us as women like to have control. So when we don't, it's very infuriating.
Yeah, I know, as I'm like, when did I go through it? Am I going through it? Because I didn't have any strong things that altogether said, yes, you absolutely are at this point, or it definitely started, like the sweats. I've never had that happen. Do some people not get the sweats, or is that always going to happen? Or I would assume, like many things, that it's going to look very different for a number of women. But like the mood thing, like when you said like it felt like you just got knocked over with a wall of just abrupt emotion, I struggle with that. Just as and I could just cry buckets. It's this crazy thing. So I guess I just cry instead of sweat. So I did.
And even like at night, so a lot of symptoms like insomnia, you know, like it's so many different symptoms that women will experience because our hormones are changing, you know, our body is changing internally.
Yeah, because I know age-wise definitely, but like what symptoms? But I've been a little like more restless with sleeping and just, I have my like, I am not smarter than a 5th grader today. So.
Yes.
Yep.
So how do we explain to the men in our lives how they can best be there for us and help us through this situation? Do you have any words of wisdom on that?
Yes, support, understand, listen. Women, as our bodies transition, it is something that men can't even comprehend.
There isn't a comparable cycle that they really go through that can help them relate. I know that they get drops also in their levels of male hormone and stuff, and I know that they have their own type of issues that they deal with in the aging process, but it doesn't come with all the stuff that ours does. It's a very different process, and I know theirs can cause a lot more of the mental self-esteem issues and problems, but this everyday thing that affects you all the time is just not something that they can say, oh, I've been through that. It was horrible.
Yeah.
So.
And we only have a certain amount of eggs.
For sure.
Yeah.
Men have, you know, like,
Yeah.
men keep going.
I
So,
know.
Right, we're on a timeline, you know, a
Yes.
very, very strict timeline, whereas
Mhm.
men just are like, wee,
Yeah,
I
I
want
was
to be
like,
going
I
on
got
80.
time,
Don't recommend having babies
Yes.
when you're 80, but you can. Yeah, I mean, I guess it would be the same thing as trying to explain being pregnant to them, you know, or having a menstrual cycle. They don't have
Yeah,
that either,
there's
and so
just-
it's that same kind of concept.
Right.
But and before I went into medical menopause, I actually sat down with my daughter and my husband, and I was like, I'm probably gonna be really mad, so just like be chill,
Just love
come
me.
with me, give me extra grace, because that's where I thought my emotions were gonna go, just based on kind of past history. That's how I am when I'm on steroids. I am
Oh, so you were
a monster.
Expecting
So I was
anger to
expecting
be
the
biggest
hairpin
issue.
trigger of
Okay.
anger, right? And it is fascinating to me that that is not what has happened. I've had one instance in this whole 3-week period so far where I got a little triggered by something and then exploded.
Right.
And it was quite funny because my husband was like, you have no reason to be upset right now. And I looked at him
No.
and then I yelled and I was like, I am in this medical menopause. I have every right to be blah, blah, blah. And I just like, whoa. And he goes, yes, you're right. I'm sorry. I totally forgot that was happening because it hasn't happened. You know, and he goes,
For sure.
you have every reason to be. And he's like, I'm really sorry that I said that. And I was like, okay, good. We're good then. All right. And then
Moving
it
on.
switched and it turned to tears, you know, because usually after I'm done being angry, I cry. And then I'm like, okay, now we've moved past all the emotions and we're good. You know, but it was weird because I was really expecting that. I mean, I even talked to my therapist about it. I was like, I know I'm going to be going through this.
Sure.
I know that that's going to be my reaction. And it hasn't been. So it kind of surprised me in that way, that it's been more of the sadness, more of the depression, more of that
For sure.
side of things rather than anger. So yeah, it can still be quite surprising even if you think that you're ready for it.
So you had factors on top of factors on top of factors. It hasn't been the smoothest
No,
sailing thing with some obstacles that got
it's been a long
thrown
almost
in
7
your
months.
way in multiple major surgeries. And general anesthesia does a number on the body, and people do not often get told that there's a recovery from those drugs alone. Just
Yeah.
the process and what it does to your body in putting you under in that state is something that is just one thing to get over, and then you have the physical injury that was caused by the surgery. And now let's put you into menopause.
I will have had 5 surgeries in 9 months. So
That's
yeah,
that's
Oh, yeah.
emotionally
Big
I've-
surgery.
yeah.
big surgeries. Yeah, I had 3. So far I've had 3 mastectomies because I had to have 2 on the right side because I'm an overachiever. And and then Friday I go in and start my reconstruction, and then that is like a 6-week-ish time period. And as they use the tissue expanders and they expand, you know, and then I go in for my 5th surgery sometime in June, I think. And yeah, so it'll be.
But you had a massive infection that was weeks long.
Yeah.
Which was the reason for your
My second
on
mastectomy.
one side.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
so there was just a lot of, you know, taking a couple steps forward and also whoosh, we're sliding back.
Right.
And then it's been,
I mean,
just as a
realistically,
friend, it's just been heartbreaking
yeah.
to watch because it wasn't smooth. You got such good news, but it's almost like the cost of getting good news was odd.
That's how I feel
Weird
about
things
it.
happen
I'm so
outside
grateful
of-
I don't have to do chemo and radiation. But it definitely has not been a smooth
No,
road, and
not
I
at
don't have a smooth road ahead of me, and so it is kind of like a
Yes.
give or take situation. So yeah.
Yeah, she's had a road.
We're gonna chat more. 'Cause I need it.
So I truly, I feel like I want to say thank you for filling this role that I think is so important in society, and I wish more people would really look into this holistic medicine and see it as a legit way of just taking care of yourself in every way, body, mind, and soul. It's kind of that whole package because it all goes together. What affects one will affect the other, which will affect the other. You don't just have a physical issue in mind and everything else stays exactly the same because it's all altered by what's going on over here.
Right.
So it's beautiful, the program that you've got over here.
And I love that you said that you do the balancing of the chakras. I'm saying that wrong. Chakra. Good words. Anyways, you know what I'm saying.
Words.
Wow, that was impressive. I should just start my own show. Anyways, but I love that you do that because I know very limited information about it, but I understand it to be like the flow of your body, and when things are blocked, that it can cause all kinds of problems, and that people carry their stresses in different areas of their body. And
so many people are so resistant of this, but I'm like, study the body and physiology and anatomy and all this stuff. Just study it and learn what's behind it and just the healing aspect of it. So
so tell me a little bit more about your knowledge of the balancing of the chakras.
Oh, our chakras carry our emotions. When we're out of whack, our chakras are out of whack. So every morning I come and I balance my chakras and I see, what's out of whack. If I have negative thoughts, if I'm not happy, it's like my chakras are off. So I immediately balance my chakras. But chakras carry a lot of our emotions. Chakras are not like visible, right?
For sure.
Right.
But it's our aura, and that's what
Yes.
a lot of people don't understand.
Yes.
I actually learned a little bit about that by watching the Avatar with my kids. I'm serious. You can learn all kinds of things by watching things with your children. But I just
educated. It's good.
Absolutely. But if you think about it, the holistic approach to things have been around for thousands of years longer than Western medicine, or Eastern or whatever, or Western medicine,
We
right?
are.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Okay, I'm doing well today.
You're doing so good.
Nailed it. But all of these new drugs and the new things that are always coming out and all of that, and I do think that there is a place for that, However, that's not the answer to everything.
Right.
And I know that 100%. I'm going to tell you a story for a minute, kid. But my daughter was dealing with a lot of belly pain for 18 months. We had gone to every doctor. And that whole thing that you were talking about earlier about you're fine, everything's fine, and then you feel crazy,
It's
right?
so
Like,
defeating.
I know I'm not fine. I knew my kid was not fine. This girl used to just like cartwheel into everywhere we went. I mean, she was just super, super active. And here's my kid laying on the couch because she can't move. We had to pull her out of school. I mean, it was that effective. We had gone to the hospital a bunch of times. She had to have every single test that there was, every single scan that you could possibly think of. They tried at least 5 or 6 different medicines and they didn't do anything. And I was just desperate. Like, what do I do for her? And then I brought her to our chiropractor, which I don't know why I didn't think of that first because we go to the chiropractor all the time. But I didn't put the one with the other. Does that make sense? So it was like, she's having belly pains, that's not chiropractor. Anyways, so we go to the chiropractor. Sure enough, she diagnosed her without even touching her. She's like, okay, I'm gonna check these 2 things. If these 2 things are out of whack, this is what it is. And sure enough, those 2 things were out of whack, and that's what it was. And it was a pelvic floor dysfunction. So at some point when she was younger, she fell and hit her tailbone, and it got out of whack just a little bit. And as she grew through puberty, her muscles were all twisted, right? Because her tailbone was out of whack, and so everything was twisted. So your muscles underneath that hold your whole pelvis together are supposed to be like supple, right? And hers were like as hard as the table. So she ended up going to physical therapy for about 6 or 7 months. We did acupuncture and we went to the chiropractor, and that is what healed her. That is what helped her, and that is what continued. And she even had like leg pain and everything because all your muscles are connected. And so, we were dealing with all of those things, and all of the thousands of doctors that we had seen prior to that, not a clue. Not a clue. Wouldn't even have known about it. But there was an entire physical therapy over in Cascade that is called Purple Mountain, and they literally only do pelvic floor dysfunction.
Okay.
They have one that works with women that are post, they've given birth, and then they have one for women and girls that have not. And I'm like, their entire practice is for this. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh, you guys stay busy enough,
Because nobody talks about that issue.
No.
Also, there's
No.
just certain things that we just don't talk about, and why not? I
Yeah.
mean, pelvic floor stuff is it's awful to deal with.
It is, and it doesn't show up on any scans. No tests, no blood work, no scans, nothing would show that. You had to go and work with people that work with your bones and work with your muscles, and they can see that. And I cried so hard at the chiropractor. I was like, thank you.
It's so similar to what you do, because her help came from a doctor with a specialty that knew immediately the root of the cause of all of this stuff. You couldn't scan, they obviously didn't, for whatever reason, see anything, but I see it's just such a parallel to what you do. You're treating the actual root of it, whether it's up here or it's located elsewhere or it's a hormone thing. You know, we're just so quick, just like, oh, I just gotta go to the doctor, get a prescription for it, and so that, you know, I just feel better. But are you fixing it?
And a lot of people feel like if the doctor has given them the prescription, they find comfort in that first. You know, that's where our society has brought us. Is they feel that comfort of like, okay, good. You know, like the doctor found something wrong, they're gonna give me this pill, it's gonna fix it. But again, like you said, it's a Band-Aid, it's masking it, it's not really getting down to the root of what it is.
You know, like that blood pressure medication, that's not fixing your blood pressure. It's forcing it unnaturally down for a short period of time, and when you stop taking it, it's gonna go to its normal. So why is it doing that?
Right. Yeah.
Western medicine has been around since 5th century BC. Since 5th century BC, we have been accustomed to Western medicine.
Wow. Goodness. I had no idea. That was a surprise to me. I am such a fan of incorporating Eastern medicine into our Western medicine. There is a place for all of it. And I don't understand. Some of it I do, because I know living here, we have an ultra conservative base that very much pushes back on anything Eastern. Like, because it's this woo-woo stuff out here. I want to encourage them to look into this and learn about this connection and how much good it can do your body in a way that's safe and natural. And it's not putting in a substance that's just a Band-Aid for a symptom, but it's getting to the root cause, and you're gonna feel better. It seems like a win to me in the end, but I think we have such a resistance. Have you seen that in our area? Like, if it's Eastern medicine or anything, that can't, that's just bad.
Even as something that's normalized to me is like going to the chiropractor. You know, some people are like, "Whoa, you let them crack your bones," and I'm like, no.
I know.
Sure, they don't just like crack your bones. You know, there's so much more to it.
For sure.
But yeah, there's like that stigma of, you know, you're doing things that way.
Have they looked at a spine to see where all those nerve pathways are running right through the channels there of your? If that's out of whack, those nerve signals that are controlling the different processes in your body are going to be. Hello. Just gonna say that, but
I love it.
Yeah, and one thing that I love here is what's the cause to your cause?
Yes. Yeah.
So for the menopause and the hot flashes and the mood, what's the cause to it so we can get to that root cause?
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
What a beautiful place.
That is a perfect place where we're going to end today.
Yes.
This has been just amazing. I want to be very...
I know. I've been so happy to meet you. Thank you so much for this conversation.
I
It's
could
been
sit and
wonderful.
chat with you for hours.
I hope you're encouraged to give holistic medicine a try. I promise you, it's such a beautiful, beautiful alternative
It is.
to what we're used to. So I try it.
Yeah, so we will have a link to everything that we've talked about here on our website and also on this particular podcast.
Yay.
So yes, please check it out, and just thank you for joining us today. Thank you for joining us today. We are just so excited, and we will see you next time.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Bye.